This conference will now be recorded.
So this is Montessori's 2019 facility planning meeting with State Construction Department. We'll go ahead and do introductions.
Good afternoon, Brandon Finney. My role in the State Construction Department is to work through the facility planning process, gather those projects that needed appropriations, and take them to the representatives, legislative bodies, the commission, select committee, governor, and JAC.
Amber Leach with School Facilities Planning. My primary role is to work with facility planning with the districts as well as charters, preparing documentation for this facility plan meeting.
Charlie Kaufman, my primary role is research and data and reports for all the facility planning, and then reports for any requested items that are needed.
My name is Michael Burnett. I'm a project manager in the design and construction division of SFD.
All right, go ahead, Ed.
Ed Getz, business manager, Albany County School District.
And then Megan.
Megan Dirks, business manager of Laramie Montessori Charter School.
All right. Again, thank you for being here, and especially Ed, thank you for being with us for the third session of today. You're probably getting tired of my voice and Troy's and everyone else's at this point. So
yeah, I bet you guys are getting tired of doing all these meetings.
Yeah, we're just this is 5 of 52, so that's on the school district side. I make a mistake. Amber shot me the look. We have the state side as well, so we'll be at this till April. So thank you again, and thank you for Amber for all the work that she does in getting ready for these. Really quick, while we have Brandon here, Brandon has to go back to another meeting, so we're going to jump to the financial portion of this, which is the lease, and we'll go ahead and turn that over to him here momentarily. So let me find where we're at here with that. It is, there we go.
So Megan, what I did is the table that we got pulling up, the contract, what I did is I pulled up the contract and I went off the table that we had last year when we developed the budget. So the contract was signed in 2016. So on the left, you'll see a column that says 2016. In that contract, it talks in the base rent outlined in clause A is 56 cents per square foot per month, 12 months in a year, so it's $6.72. And in 2016, you started out with 11,500 square feet rented. In the 2019 session, if you go over to the right of that spreadsheet, across the top is the years, and then I have the square foot, and it's inflated per clause B of the agreement at a 4% inflation rate per year. So I've got the inflation rate calculated in there. And in 2019, the capacity need went up to 80 students, which gave an allowable square footage per the statute of 15,129 square feet. So we just went to the legislature and asked for the additional money. So what I did in calculating the next biennial budget, which is what we're preparing for, is in the column 2021 fiscal year, or calendar year, excuse me, I inflated the square foot costs, and I are 66 cents and 68 cents a square foot. The only error I see is I see there's a 12 months in that column right there. See that months, 21, 30, well, that should be
Did you drag it up?
should be 12. So let's go into the spreadsheet. And go into our reports. On. Let's pull up that.
I thought 2021 was the year of the baker's dozen.
All right, where are we at? Reports?
Oh, yeah, or our reports.
I think I caught it, but he didn't catch that.
All right.
19. Charter school. Change that to 12. All right. So what it does is $7.86 a square foot. You're eligible for 15,129 square feet. So the 20-year calendar year would be $118,000. The 21 year would be $123,000. And the bottom in yellow is those two combined for a total request to the legislature of $242,629.
Okay.
So does that check with what you guys see on your side and anybody else? Ed?
I'll leave that up to Megan.
I think it looks good to me.
Okay. So Megan, I believe you guys do sign the facility plan. Is that correct? So before you sign it, just double check, and I do have in the footnotes there where I pulled these dates from the contract, and you can see over the inflation and all that stuff. So, you know, you're gonna, eventually it will affect you, so just double check and verify before you sign it. If you do see anything, you say, Brandon, you screwed up here, you know, this should have been this or something, just let's touch base and make sure it's accurate before it goes off to the legislature. Okay.
Need to move it over, cut it off, cut it off.
I need to move it over.
The only other thing I will add is that I'll let Charlie go through, but you want to go through their budget with them, how it is in the JEC and all that.
Sure, we'll go. What we'll do is we'll talk about that piece really quick. Let's actually jump up and do that right now while you're still here.
So right here, you can see on the leases Montessori school, this is a table I keep track of all the requests and where they're at in their life cycle. The commission made the recommendation, and this is the delta from the 15,000 to the 11,500 square feet that you guys are now eligible for due to the student enrollment increase. And that's going to be coming through the legislature, and if it becomes available, we would get the funds in July of 2019.
Okay.
So far it's made it through the commission, through the select committee, the governor, and the JAC. So now it's going to the House and the Senate. So
Yeah, it's in House Bill 80.
So Charlie will walk through the rest of it, and all I'd ask is just double check my table, and feel free to reach out if we do have any errors.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go ahead and excuse Brandon to go back to his other meeting. I want to thank him for coming in here and helping us out, and explaining what was going on for you guys. So really quick, we'll jump back up to the top really, and we'll go on through this. If you do have any questions or any concerns, let me know. But we'll try to make this, just roll on through and make sure we cover everything. So your charter is with the school district, started in May 11th of 2016, expires the 31st of July 2021. These are just to show that they have the board motion and the minutes, and it's for our records more than anything. So on this one, with the building not being owned by the district, you guys, as you know, you're reimbursed for the lease payment. That's what we just talked about, so nothing too new there. And basically what we're looking at to do is we always have to ask the question every year, and this is of Ed especially, is there any potential space available within a district-owned building to house this charter school?
Realistically, no.
Okay, and we just have to ask that question every year. So, so for you guys right now, the least square footage will stay till this next year, 11,500, and then it'll jump up to the 15,219 for your allowable, and that's why the necessary for the rent to go up. So, and then this is obviously just pointing out the lease that you have with the St. Lawrence O'Toole Church. All right, and really quick, just for my edification, for my benefit and my knowledge, you're leasing 2 more rooms in that northern part of the building. Talk a little bit about the expansion of the lease part for me.
They're using them but not renting.
Yeah. So we have a verbal agreement with the church right now to go ahead and use those 2 rooms on the north end, and basically without having to pay for them right now.
I'm sorry, you kind of broke up there a little bit. Can you repeat that?
We have a verbal agreement with the church to go ahead and use the 2 north rooms without costing us rent. So we've worked with them to get that done.
Okay, and I'm just taking notes. This next fall, excuse me. Okay, moving on real quick, then this is more for your, this is just for our record, street view of the building. Not a very good street view of the building, I apologize. The aerial view. And then for us, for our records, the tract you're on right now for the county assessor is 1.6 acres. And then we'll update this, but currently you're just leasing the 11,500.
Yep.
Nothing too exciting there. All right. Usually we don't do capacity analysis on leased buildings, but in this case, Brandon was good enough to go in and walk the building, and with the assessors that went through this past, it's been a few months, I can't remember, it was in September or October. And so then we were able to generate a building capacity off of the square footage and off of our methodology, and we just had it a basic number of 95 for the building. So 80 students currently in there from the October 1 enrollment, and 95 of a capacity for the building. So I'll blow this up real quick. This is basically your enrollment from 2011, from when you started to current. And you have grown most every year right now. Looking at currently, you have 80 students the last couple of years. And we do have an enrollment projection. I will say that the validity of this is right now, because of there's a couple of things that pop out. One, there's not enough data to really prop this enrollment projection like it should. Because of the lack of data, there's a lot of variance in it, which shows you the drastic curve. And plus, Ed has been good enough to tell us that you guys are looking to cap your program at around 100 to 110 students.
Yep.
Go back down. So, and just basically for us, that's just looking at us. You guys had some good luck expanding the program a little bit, and so for my edification again, how do you get students? Is there a lottery process? Do they apply and get in? Talk to that a little bit.
Yeah, we have a lottery process right now. Last year was the first time it went into effect with our kindergarten. Other than that, the rest of our classes aren't completely full yet, so they still, if they apply,
So are you doing one or two sections of each grade?
We have one kindergarten classroom, and we have two classrooms of 1st through 3rd grade because they're mixed. Okay. And then one classroom with two head teachers with 4 through 6.
Got it. Okay. Good. Troy, did you join us?
Thank you, Charlie. Yes, I just did.
Okay, let's go ahead and have you introduce yourself really quick, Troy.
Thank you. I'm Troy Decker, planning, and my role in this is quality assurance to make sure that we capture everything we need within facility plans, and then they're able to use that to give reports to the legislature, to the select committee, to our commission, and then I'm also part of a budgeting team that uses these as the basis by which we make requests to the commission.
Okay. So, very good. Thank you, Troy. So, Troy, to give you a quick recap, Brandon was just in here a few minutes ago. We talked over the lease payments coming up and then over the next year, and then the stuff that's currently in the legislature. And now we're on the enrollment and enrollment projections. And so, really quick to reiterate what Troy has written down here in the notes, it just says, as noted in the Albany MONTE Facility Plan, enrollment projections are a formula-driven view of the future and do not represent all variables related to future capacity. And then projections are based on 10 years of trailing data and are used to help determine remedies when capital funding requests become viable or analysis is requested by legislative committees. So more than anything, that's what we want to also talk about within regard to that. Okay. Any questions on capacity or condition at this point? I mean, the enrollment projections.
Roll up just a second. Megan, I just wanted to show you, roll down.
Sorry.
What we inserted here was just a caption of when we talk about enrollment so that you know it was inserted in here. This just shows if we were to look at a building for capacity issues of any sort or capacity maximum, that enrollment projection sheet is something that we use as a tool, and then we would use these rules and regulations to refer to how we need to assess that information. Now, granted, your situation is quite unique with your charter, being that you're specifying your program's going to be within that 1 to 110. We still just watch that enrollment, and you know, in the last years you've gained, and that's why it shows that upward trend. But once it levels out in the next few years, it probably will not show that.
No, it'll be a pretty stable trend at that point.
Okay.
Okay, everything else? Anything else on enrollments or projections?
Not for me.
All right, thank you. So we'll go ahead and move on to condition of. So basically right now with Megan, one of the things that we do, we assess every building that's out there, and FEA did come and do an assessment your building in October, and actually the reason why that was is to see where the systems are at in the building, the components, and what condition the building is in general. And the reason we do that is to see the baseline of where that building is at, how much need there is, and what needs to happen to continue to keep that building on a healthy life cycle.
So I know Ed and I talked about this and referred to it, Megan, during our final review. I was able to gather that 120 or 156 page report. I uploaded that document so into the facility plan as a reference point. We can always go back to it. But Megan, if you need that at any time, let me know.
Okay. I think we have it somewhere.
Right. And I never found a condensed version of that, but we still have the information if we need to refer to it.
And so to make sure we're all on the same page, that was an exception because we had a legislative request for that. In the future, we will not assess that building unless requested by some kind of committee that gives us authority to do so, since you're leasing it.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, thank you. So basically, well, let's moving on to major maintenance at this point. Because your building is not owned by the district, the gross square footage of any school building or facility leased by a district, including but not limited to the gross square footage of any school building or facility leased by a charter school operating pursuant to state statutes 21.30 and 301 through 314, shall not be included within the district's gross square footage computed under this section. So basically what this is saying is that because it's the lease, because you're leasing the building, all the maintenance is supposed to be incorporated through the lease payment. And that's why one of the other reasons why we're looking to increase the lease payment at this point. So let's talk about bill session review really quick.
Scroll back.
Yep. Nope, you're fine. I'm just trying to make sure if there's anything that really applies to you at this point, because House Bill 8 only really applies to the school district and owned buildings.
House Bill 52 is just talking about public works and contracts in terms of releasing information, and when does that need to be answered by?
Oh, that's actually, it's for writing specifications on Wyoming resident suppliers. So not
Not that one.
Nothing really applies on that. And then House Bill 65 is our procurement processes, but again, does not really pertain here. Public records is Senate File 57, might be of interest to you. Just talks about that public records shall be delivered in 10 days if a mutual agreement between the requestee and the agency are not reached, and then penalties are up to felony if the agency doesn't deliver.
Is there any bills that you've been looking at, Megan, that you would know that you're following?
No, I haven't been.
Okay.
And Senate File 49 is more about private schools and the zoning resolution to restrict the location or use or occupancy of that school. And we briefly covered this already, but basically right now, currently it's in the House right now, in House Bill 80 for the lease for the Montessori and school, the $27,580. And then Brandon already went through this, but basically just talking about what your payment will be for the 21-22 biennial budget. All right. So with that, it actually brings us to our last part of the facility plan itself, unique issues, ideas, and concerns. This is the part of the facility plan where if we haven't covered something that you have on that you'd like to talk about, this is the opportunity for you to be able to do so at this point. And with that, we'll go ahead and turn it over to you, Megan, for anything that you'd like to cover that we haven't touched on yet.
I can't think of anything.
Okay.
Ed Getz, is there anything you have?
No?
Michael?
Not at this time.
Troy?
I do have one question, and I probably know the answer, but that's all right. On the lease between the Montessori school and the church, Ed, are you in any way, shape, or are you involved in that in any way, shape, or form?
Only peripherally.
Okay, as in, does it have like board review before, or anything like that, or you're aware of it because you have a copy of it?
I'm just aware, obviously when they were looking at the building, we kind of helped them assess it and we kind of looked over the lease, but ultimately it's their decision, their contract, their agreement. So,
okay.
We are involved to an extent, but to say that we've got total veto authority or anything like that, that wouldn't be the case.
Okay. Thank you.
We're an interested third party, just like you guys.
I do not have anything else at this time, and Amber, you're good? All right, so real quick, I just want to thank you guys for your time, and Megan and Ed for being here today and for your work getting ready for this. And we look forward to working with you guys here in the future. And so with that, I'll go ahead and end the recording and stop the meeting, and you guys have a great afternoon.
Thanks, you too.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.